Acknowledge me.
You just made the list.
I am the wwenxt.
I'm better than you, and you know it. Damn.
Welcome back to Down Under the Mat podcast here in Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow us. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and X. To my left, Mr. Daniel Danielson. To my right, Rowdy Reece. I am Booker Ted. We all swerve when we drive, and we are here to talk all things wrestling. This is our weekly recap show of all the shows. But before we actually get into recapping the shows, we've actually just finished filming the news and rumors and our Royal Rumble predictions video. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. And since we finished filming that, there's been a couple of appearances that have happened. So we just wanted to touch on them really quickly. Because in New Japan, Jack Perry has turned up at New Japan Pro Wrestling. And what was it you were saying, Dan? He's turned up with a black armband with Scapegoat.
Yeah.
And he ripped up an AEW contract while in the ring as well. So, very interesting stuff
He
there.
attacked somebody post-match with a
Yeah.
mask on, took it off.
Yeah, Jack Perry.
Jack
Interesting.
Perry in New Japan.
Okay. Well, let's see if it's all kayfabe or,
See what comes
is
out
it
of
a
this.
work? Is it shoot?
Gonna be interesting.
But the other big,
Big
debut
new.
at TNA,
Big debut.
a.k.a. formerly known as Dolphy Zig, Nick Nemeth, has turned up after Moose successfully defended.
No,
One.
brand new champion.
Oh, he's brand new. Oh, he wasn't champion. Sorry.
Moose has defeated Alex Shelley to get the TNA Heavyweight Championship and was then confronted by Nick Nemeth,
And
who
got
hit him with a
super
super kick and a zigzag.
Dude, I'm
then-
keen for that.
Nick Nemeth goes into the crowd. He had a Motley Crue shirt on, rips it off, big TNA shirt underneath.
Nice. That's big for TNA, dude.
Oh, that's
really
huge
good.
for TNA.
That's really good. There
it is.
There we go. There he is now. I think he's going to go after. I think they're going to go after AEW TNA. I really do.
Yeah.
With a CM Punk shirt right behind it too. Look at that. So just a couple of really big debuts there that we wanted to touch on before we get into our recap. So go check those out.
Yeah. No
I'm sure
news yet of who Matt Riddle's mystery tag partner is for the New
so-
Japan show either, but
we won't have a chance to.
we'll have Twitter up. We'll see if we can find it as we
We'll
do.
do our best Tony Khan and stay on Twitter all night.
We'll do our best Tony Khan and do a 3-hour podcast, mate, like his media scrums. So starting off with the recap, Dan, I know you're not looking forward to it, but AEW,
You know,
mate.
talking is what I'm not looking forward to.
You're not that bad, mate.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, you
Much
said
better than
yourself-
last week.
You said yourself that there wasn't too much of
Look,
highlights.
it was. I've watched AEW as well this week, so I can help Dan out.
You might need to jump in and help
It
him.
wasn't great. Let's be real.
So the problem that I had with this episode of Dynamite, and some people online liked it, thought it was great, but there was so much nostalgia to the show because it was a tribute to John Huber, so Brody Lee.
Yep.
It was their first show back at Daly's place,
For a
which
while.
was their pandemic home
Oh,
ground.
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yep.
It's also outdoors. I didn't realize Daly's was outdoors.
Oh.
Yeah, somewhat. I think it's got some covering up the top, but it is.
But it's
pretty
mostly
open.
outdoors.
Yeah.
They're all in like big jackets and stuff because it's the middle of winter over there. So
Yeah.
there was all of that to it.
Yep.
And then the show to me just didn't deliver, unfortunately. So there are a couple of things. The first match was really good. It was Hangman and Claudio Castagnoli.
Yep.
Really good 15 or so minute match. It went AEW to me at the end where Hangman reversed Claudio a couple of times. He hit the big swing on him. Hangman reversed him off the top rope, then hit a tombstone pile driver. Oh, sorry, and then something else, and then Claudio kicked out.
Right. Okay.
And then he picked him straight back up, hit him with a dead eye. Claudio kicked out.
Yeah.
And then he ended up winning with
Double buckshot
lariats, which is fine. But it's like why are you using a tombstone pile driver as a transitional move that's a kick out?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That annoys me. Other than that,
Yep.
really good match.
Yeah.
There was then an 8-man tag match, which was the the Brody Lee
Tribute
Memorial
match.
Tribute match.
Yeah, and you mentioned before we came on air that this one for you was weird because they started the match with just everyone in the ring.
Everyone was
and
in
no
the ring,
no
right?
entrances
No
for the men at all. The none.
And the match, from the men's side was Orange Cassidy,
Yep.
Preston Vance, who's Brody Lee's
yeah,
guy,
Adam
the
Copeland.
Edge, or Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
No entrance for Adam Copeland.
That's
the only
weird.
person who had half an entrance was Lance Archer, who was the last guy from the heel side into the ring.
Which was Lance Archer and the Mogul Embassy, minus Sands was Strickland.
Brian
right.
Cage and stuff. It was fine. It was a bunch of spots at the end, and then Preston Vance got the win.
I can't remember the fourth man on the other team.
I don't even know if I wrote it down.
Yeah, right.
No. There was moves everywhere. It was fine. They missed the final spot where Preston Vance won with the lariat for Brody Lee.
Yeah.
It was just weird. It was just weird that everyone was on the show. It was all a bit of a mess.
Yeah. They did tell the story of Orange Cassidy trying to do choke slams to the bigger guys.
That was funny.
Throughout the whole match.
Brian
And then he hit
Cage-
one. So
Brian Cage's neck was like this, and his neck was about this wide.
yeah.
That was funny.
That was probably the best part of the match, I'd say. For me.
Homage to the Hurricane there.
Yeah, a little bit. There was some backstage promos and stuff that was on the show. The one that I thought was interesting was the Jay White and Bullet Club
Okay.
were backstage.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
And the Acclaimed came up and said, look, the Undisputed Kingdom are destroying everything. They're going to take over, whatever. We need to set up an alliance and become the Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
Yeah.
The Bang Bang Scissor Gang. That
Bang,
sounds
bang, bang, scissors.
awesome.
Jay White was a bit, but Austin
skeptical
Gunn
about
was pretty keen on it. He was like, you know what, that's a good idea. And like, he's like, see you, Dad. Because Billy Gunn's obviously their dad. So
Yeah, right.
I reckon that's going to happen. which will be
Interesting.
cool.
Interesting.
There was a segment with Samoa Joe, obviously being the new champion.
Yep.
Yeah.
He got a nice, good promo essentially saying that your Twitter rants aren't going to get you anywhere. Your complaining to people backstage isn't going to get you a title shot anymore.
Yeah.
I'm now around. The championship committee will decide on wins and losses and what happens in this ring, who gets title shots.
Interesting.
So Samoa Joe's in control of that, which I think was nice.
Yep.
Swerve came out.
Yep.
Oh,
Confrontation there.
Nice.
Swerve, said some stuff. I can't even remember what he said.
No. Essentially just saying, I'm coming for your title.
Yeah, it's not
Pretty
personal,
much.
but I'm coming for the title.
Yeah. Hangman then came
As
out.
he said, it's not personal. Hangman comes out. So
Which
him-
is personal.
Him
Yep.
and Swerve are then very personal. They kind of Swerve just left, and then Hangman cut a promo and said, "I'm coming after the title.
Yep.
I was the champion. I held it forever. I got this company through the pandemic. I'm coming back to get the title."
Okay.
And Joe kind of just smirked at him, and then Hangman walked off, and then the hook light, the bat signal,
The bat signal.
God.
showed up on the roof,
The hook signal.
and Hook walked out, and they just sort of
Who
stood at each other.
the fuck is Hook?
Hook walked in the ring, stared at Joe,
Yep.
said 2 weeks, and walked out. That was it.
Which is the most he's said in the entire time he's been in AEW, right?
Yeah. But like it wasn't even with a microphone. He just looked at Joe and was like, 2
2
weeks.
Okay.
It's not even 2 weeks. It's not this week on Dynamite.
Yeah, I
next
don't
week.
understand.
Interesting.
Or did he say 1 week?
I think it's in next week.
Next week, maybe. Okay, interesting.
It's a mess.
That's
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty messy having them all coming out at the same time, but it sets up for the next few months for Joe and his opponents.
It was just so poorly, like,
Executed.
the production of it was just really poor.
Yeah.
The way they
It's
designed
like, oh, let's just get everyone who he's going to face all do promos at the same time, but one after the other. And okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, was it on this show or Rampage, the whole Jericho stuff?
That
No, I was on
this
this show. This
Okay.
was the next segment,
Okay.
place,
which is I had Sammy Guevara with a match against Ricky Starks,
which was good.
which was a good match. I thought it kind of ended a bit abruptly.
yeah.
Because I remember they were trading moves back and forth. Sammy hit him with 2 super kicks, and then a really.
Pretty sure he hit him with a GTH.
I feel like I don't know whether my mind's just remembering things out of order, but I feel like the finish was 2 super kicks, and then a really
roll-up.
weird looking roll up, and then that was the match.
Yeah.
And then the ref went over and checked on Ricky Starks. It seemed like something had happened, so it was a bit weird. But then
Then the even weirder
Big Bill
thing,
comes out, starts attacking him. So
Yeah.
Ricky gets up and acts like he's fine. So
But then the even weirder thing after that,
Yeah.
was- and this is what I read, is obviously Jericho's come out.
so Jericho
to
comes
help.
out to help,
Yeah.
and then
They're playing his music.
playing his music, and then they're playing his music,
And then they brawl,
and then they're still playing his music,
and they're brawling.
and
over
they
the crowd.
literally they brawled all around the arena,
and his music.
and his music was still playing.
I wonder why.
Yeah,
Can't boo him if you're singing Judas.
yeah,
Making
it was
a
so
bit
messy.
obvious,
It was
man.
so messy.
It's a bit obvious, isn't it, when you do stuff like that?
Yeah, that was. Then there was an 8-woman memorial match, which Anna Jay got the
Won.
win
So
on.
the two people that were under Brody in the Dark Order won their respective.
The Dark Order weren't on the show.
Exactly.
Weird.
Like the Dark Order's still around, yet they were not showcased, which was
And the interesting, like you said, how the men all started in the ring. There was no entrances. The women, they all got their entrances.
yeah.
Yeah, so you said there was like 7 minutes of entrance, then like 5 minutes of match. So what does that say about AEW and their respect for the women? Because they're like, oh, we'll give you an entrance because we
respect?
don't think you're going to wrestle very well. That kind of feels like what's going on there, you know? A
little bit.
Like, they need to
then,
sort it out, man.
Then there was another Adam Cole promo, which I can't even remember what he said. It was this
Oh,
very
same old shit.
Undisputed Kingdom thing. We're going to take all the titles.
Yeah, I didn't even take notes
Yeah,
about it.
okay.
But it was,
What was the main event?
It was Darby and Sting versus.
Oh, yeah, because that's the big problem they haven't talked about is because
Oh.
who's Sting going to face for his retirement
So
match?
Darby and Sting
Yeah.
beat
Takeshita and
and-
Will Hobbs.
Hobbs. There was 2 really dangerous spots.
Yeah.
So Darby climbed up into the crowd and did a coffin drop onto the stage,
Yeah.
which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Sting won the match because they'd set up 2 tables outside.
Yeah.
They climbed up onto the stage and Sting hit the
Scorpion Death Drop.
Death Drop onto Hobbs. They missed the first table and sort of half crashed through the second table.
Yeah.
Looked bad. Sting couldn't even roll over. For
No,
him.
he just sort of
He
like-
just kind of did that.
Oh, I thought he just like put his head on.
No, he did.
Yeah, right.
As well.
Yeah.
But like they counted the 3, and then
Yeah.
everyone was really worried like Sting had done something.
Yeah.
He was okay.
Oh, let's not forget the spot where Takeshita and Will Hobbs grabbed Darby Allin, started swinging him.
Yeah.
Started swinging him back and forth.
Oh, and then yeeted him. Yeah, I
He
saw
did
that.
about 2 barrel rolls.
And he hit the ropes too, man.
Yeah.
It's actually come out that he's had a
his
neck
neck.
injury because of that.
Dude, please, Darby, stop.
Just stop,
I really
dude,
like
like-
you as a wrestler, and I want you to have a
You don't
long,
need to
illustrious
risk your
career.
life all the time. Speaking of life risking,
Well,
they've
hang on a minute.
freaking-
Hang on a minute. Because at the end of that match,
Oh, who
was
cares
there
about
not... No, but
So
we've got to
To-
talk.
So Tony
I
came
know.
out. Tony Schiavone
Shimon.
said, "Sting, now that we're getting ready for it, who is your final opponent going to be?" The Young Bucks music
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah.
And they come out... I
Dressed
know-
like
I know
2
everyone-
rocket villains.
I know, but that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, but you don't like the Young Bucks. You pick on them." Like you know how, for example, AJ Styles is now wearing pants with a belt
The
and
lone
nice
wolf,
shoes
yeah.
because he's kind of like heelish, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we know that sometimes clothing comes into account. They're almost parodying like a parody of being heels. Like it's so over the top.
They're sheep on
Like,
villains.
yeah, they got the skeevy moustaches. One was wearing white, one was wearing black. And they just stood at the end of the ramp and just looked in the ring.
I think they could have just
Nothing,
worn what
no
they
mics,
used to
no
wear,
nothing.
and it wouldn't have been any different. Like
Yeah.
they're still heels. I don't think they've ever been really overly loved at AEW as faces. Like I think it was pretty obvious they were heels at the end. I don't think they really needed to change their attire. It just made it look silly to me.
I don't have a problem with the match.
I have
think
seen reports since
Yeah.
that apparently Sting
Has asked for it. Yeah.
has asked for it.
Well,
Interesting.
Sting
Yeah.
has said that I don't think he wants another singles match.
Yeah.
And
I don't think he
understands
could
can't
handle
do
it.
I think
Yeah.
that's smart. I think that's smart.
If you're going to go out, he's going to go out with Darby. What match can you guarantee 20 minutes of everybody move under the sun to make Sting look good? The Young
Now
Bucks.
let's just hope that the Young Bucks don't get a third person, because then you know who Darby and Sting's third person will be.
Ric Flair. Woo! He was in the ring.
He got in the ring and he,
yeah.
he
He
did some
slapped,
shit
he
today.
slapped Hobbs and he poked him in the eye. And I was like, don't let Ric Flair take a bump, please.
Apparently, AEW doctors have cleared him to have another match if he wants.
Don't joke about it.
I also watched a bit of Rampage.
I'm trying to
which I'll
manifest
never
it
do
for you.
again because Rampage was horrible.
Yeah.
There was a really awkward promo. So
Would
did
you
see
say
the
it
stuff-
was bland page?
Bland page? Did you see the stuff during the week from Jeff Hardy?
Yeah.
How he's saying that the Hardys will no longer be on the universe called AEW Dynamite, as they are stuck in the universe of AEW Rampage, right?
He's since deleted his Instagram after he posted that.
Because whatever, good on you, Jeff Hardy. But they did a promo with Mark Briscoe.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
now
yeah.
like a trio. I showed Reece it before. It's not great.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
So bad. It's so bad.
Swerve had a match on it and some other
Yep.
things, but yeah, just
Pretty rubbish.
the other thing was the Battle of the Belts was tonight
Yep.
after Collision,
Yep.
which had a really big spot with Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho.
Sammy
against-
Guevara doing a Shane McMahon impression and
straight through the stage.
Swanton through the stage.
And
from a
very
very,
Onto no one, mind you, because they got
height.
pulled out of the way.
Big
yeah.
Bill power bombed Jericho off a ladder through some tables. So fingers crossed they're both injured and out for a while.
Well, I'd say
Well,
that's what the
Kayfabe.
whole story's going to be, right? Is that they get taken off TV.
As
and
long as Jericho's off TV, that's all that matters.
that's
I
what they
think so.
need, right? They're going to have to, dude. If they have to play,
They
his
have
music,
to do something.
If they have to play his music like that
So it
during a
doesn't get
brawl,
booed.
so it
They
doesn't
have
get
to do
booed,
something.
That's a big thing. All right. Anything else?
No, that's pretty
No,
much
that's
it.
pretty much all of AEW.
Pretty much it.
It's, I'm interested to see all the stuff with Hook and Samoa Joe now next week because of what Tony did on Twitter
Yeah.
and all the stuff he's been throwing shade at Jinder. Does he give Hook a really good match now?
Well, look, I think if AEW is not going to have as good as stuff, we might have more room to then fit in TNA and do some recaps of TNA. So we'll see how we go. But on to WWE, on to Raw, which again always feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But Raw was a
Always
good show.
is.
Opened with a fantastic start with Drew McIntyre in the
What a
ring.
bloody start to the show.
What a promo.
Oh, it was brilliant. And he is just really building that. And he's doing it in a good way where he doesn't seem to be saying the same thing over again, but he kind of is. Like, yeah, he's doing it in a good way where you're not like, oh, he's just repeating himself. And then obviously, and I know CM Punk almost said that when he came out because he responded because he was like, you know, he didn't say it, but he was like, you know, the rule around here is you say my name and that person appears.
Yeah.
And they had a very good back and forth. And I think CM Punk has 100% turned a corner from when he left AEW because any other time he would have tried to really overshadow the other person that he was in the ring with. And I really feel like he's not trying to do that at WWE. He's trying to just match them. Like, you know what I mean? And have a good overall because he wasn't ever trying to outdo Drew. He was just meeting him at the same level and going, this is good stuff, let's work it. And I think I said this before, right? There was a lot of realism sewn in to what was going on there. Like you could tell Drew's got a little bit of heat towards Punk for real.
Yeah, like that whole comment about Punk declaring himself as the locker room leader.
Yeah.
Like the whole reference to that happened.
that's
like,
a real thing.
yeah. Like it actually happened for him to mention that and then Punk to just sort of like
and
brush it off like
Drew
that.
was saying as well how he used to travel with Punk back in the day.
Yeah.
So
But I do like how then he copied Punk and did the whole lying in the corner on the turnbuckle. And just the look on his face, you could see he was like properly taking the piss. Like, But Punk,
It was
I mean,
so good.
props to him, man. Like he has been keeping his cool and he's just been going, you know what? This is making money. This is selling tickets, you know?
the one comment I'll make about it was when they kind of got chest to chest and Punk said, you better watch what you say or I'll knock those teeth down your throat. I didn't believe that when he was standing underneath Drew.
No.
I was like, you're not going to knock Drew's teeth out. You can out-wrestle him in a match and you'll probably beat him. But if you're going to brawl with Drew McIntyre would beat CM Punk.
I did notice.
Maybe he's got to have some real glass.
Yeah, maybe. I did notice. Did you see Drew just made sure he was really big
Oh, he
when
was as tall as he could
when
be.
CM Punk stepped to him, he grew another inch. Like it was very very
Just
obvious.
straighten up your
but-
back, it makes a difference.
But I think Drew is smart enough to also look at it and go, if I have a feud with this guy, it's gonna
Good business,
You know,
yeah.
and as we said, like you know, that could be a very good match at Elimination Chamber. That could potentially steal the show.
yeah, definitely.
And you know, you never know what might happen because if a certain champion was to get injured and couldn't turn up at WrestleMania, who would you step in instead? So you know, you always got to keep that at the back of your mind that you want to be the next one in. So that was a great way to kick off the show. And then we had a really good match with someone that we haven't seen actually really wrestle in singles for all, Finn Balor against Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, hasn't happened a lot.
Two
but
very good wrestlers.
good
had
match.
a banger of a match. And obviously it sort of was playing into something's going to happen with Damian and Finn with the tag titles. I think that's
Yeah,
what this is setting
DIY
up,
versus-
obviously. Because
I
Tommaso
liked
got the
it.
win. So.
I liked the promo that Ciampa cut walking through the backstage into the ring.
Yeah,
That was much better than the normal, like, someone's backstage with a microphone.
It was a bit
talking
more
to-
natural.
yeah.
Kevin Dunn's gone. Look what happened.
Oh, look at that.
Change
Yeah,
it-
that's a good point. I didn't even
change
think
the
of that.
I noticed a lot of changes to how they're structuring their TV as well. Like just like little things like that.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
No, it was very good. It was very good. And hopefully, I mean, there seems to be a lot going on with stables and tag teams. So surely a tag team title split has got to be on the very near horizon. It's got to be.
It's got to
Tag team
happen, man.
elimination chamber match.
Oh,
Imagine that many people in a chamber.
That could work, man.
You'd have Judgment Day,
Haven't they done that before?
possibly. But
Possibly.
Do it again. Judgment Day, Creed Brothers,
Yeah.
DIY,
Street Profits.
The Final Testament. Is it Final Testament?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but AOP.
AOP, yeah.
Street Profits,
Yeah.
Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
that
get Pretty
would work.
Deadly in there.
That's
Or Tommaso
For-
and...
well, that's DIY.
Oh, sorry, yeah, DIY, sorry.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, you could do that. You'd have Truth and
That would be good, man.
Liz.
Split them up. Split up
Got
those
some good
titles.
options, man.
Now, look at how many tag teams we now have back in
Yeah.
WWE. Like, they need to. You need to. You need to split them up. And Judgment Day, like...
They had Street Profits call out Judgment Day last week on SmackDown. Like, you could do something.
And Damien and Finn have got other things on the horizon that they could be doing other than those tag titles. Like, the story of Judgment Day could be done without the tag titles.
Agree.
They don't need the titles.
Or at least they keep one of them, maybe, and lose at least one set. But I don't
Lose
know how
the
that would
SmackDown
go.
titles.
Because you might, degrade one, but anyway. So then, well, we could just talk about it now because I can't remember exactly where it was in the show. But the greatest vignette of all time, I think, was one of the highlights of the show for
R-Truth
most people.
dramatisation.
The R-Truth.
Put that man in the
dramatisation.
Hall of Fame.
So
Dude,
good.
he I think he's going to go down in history as probably the best comedic wrestler.
I think so.
Have you
Ever.
seen what's happened, like, after that's happened? So, the picture of him with Judgment Day,
Yeah.
they've released 2 different shirts, right?
Oh, yeah, it's top seller.
Top seller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Outsold LA Knight and CM
That's
Punk.
And
huge.
Cody Rhodes.
Like,
All of them.
ridiculous.
They need to continue him with JD McDonough and Dom Mysterio. 100% they need to continue
it's
it.
entertaining TV.
The
It gets
dramatization
some-
where he's like, as a baby, I always knew I wanted to be in the
No,
Judgment
but
Day.
the fact that he goes, I remember I was born and the doctor looked down at me and I'm like, what?
So good.
And the AI that they used, obviously, with the doctor holding this
Oh,
black
perfect.
baby, and like,
So
oh,
good.
and then I love the fact that they did like use all those photos that people were putting online with memes of him being in like NWO and all this
Yep.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just if you haven't watched it, go look it up. It's brilliant.
You mentioned it before we got on the air. The
Tom
comment
and
in.
Nick Mysterio.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio.
Tom and Nick.
No, he said Dominic. He
No,
said
he
Dom
calls them
and Nick.
Tom and Nick Mysterio.
Yeah, he said Tom and Nick.
No, because I swear to God, he says Dom and Nick because he goes, I have never met Nick, but I'm sure he's a good guy.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's met Dom. He
No,
doesn't know who
he's
Tom is.
He calls him Tom.
Okay.
I'm
I'll have to
90%
go back. I'm
sure.
pretty certain he just says
Let's
Dom
go.
and
Let's go
I'm
rewatch it
pretty
after
certain
we're
he just
done
says
here.
Dom and Nick, but
I thought
yeah,
it was
no,
Tom.
it was
We'll
good.
go
It was a
rewatch
good
it.
spot. It was a good spot.
Stop fighting.
And then live, laugh, love.
Judgment Day. Oh, I tell you what, Morgan did say if they bring out a Judgment Day shirt that says "Live, Laugh, Love." It
That's
says
what.
Live, Laugh,
That's
Love.
one of the ones
Is
they
that one of them?
released. Yeah.
I've got to get it for her. I've got to get it for her. It's on the
100%.
list. It's on the list. Oh, I can't say that now.
No, I can't say that.
Anyway. All right, so banger of a match we had was Kofi Kingston against Ludwig Kaiser. And obviously this
Great
was
match.
put as a grudge match because obviously Kofi had kicked Giovanni in the head the week previous
Yeah.
and
Which
caused
was an
concussion.
unfortunate spot, but
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Oh,
Kofi
Mate,
and
I tell
Kaiser
ya.
put on a hell of a match. Props to Kofi because he showed how good of a seller he is.
Yeah.
And Kaiser, I think,
He's
has
always-
really shown how good he is. Oh, here we go. We got the shirt showing me now, yeah? Before we go, live, laugh, love. I've got to get that. I've got it. Okay. When I get home tonight, I'm literally going to order that. Can you send me that link?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, save that link and send it to me because I'm gonna buy
didn't
some.
they release it on WWE
brilliant.
Shop as well?
probably.
That's brilliant. But anyway,
Anyway.
banger of a match. Ended up in a double count out in the end because literally they were just selling the story of Kaiser pretty much just beating the crap out of Kofi and
Yeah.
potentially injuring him. Kaiser does the weaselness
He's
so well.
so good.
With the fact of, oh, yeah, I'm leaving, then runs around the ring,
Gets him.
gets Kofi on the stairs again. But yeah, again, that's another match. It's definitely worth watching. It was a pay-per-view level sort of match. If they'd had a street fight or something at a pay-per-view, it could have...
The sort of tenacity
man.
and brutality that Ludwig showed on Raw,
well,
I reckon he's going to dethrone Gunther.
This was one of 2 matches where it was
call.
really strong style, which we'll talk about in the main event when we get there. But I think they both made an agreement beforehand that we've got to make this legit if we're going to make it like a feud and like a blood feud. Like, let's just beat the crap out of each other. Because they did it to each other. There was a couple of moves on Ludwig where Kofi really laid into him. So, but I don't know, they just did such a good job where I'm like, I would love to see them wrestle at a pay-per-view in a match. So
I definitely think there's the potential to build that up into. Gunther comes back next week, so he can be like, oh, I leave for 3 weeks and now Giovanni's out indefinitely. What have you done? Like, we've had Gunther not slowly, but like consistently get under Ludwig's skin, blaming him for everything bad that's happening around Imperium.
Yeah.
Have him finally say, no, that's enough. That's it. I'm out of Imperium. And he's going to go after
Stop
Gunther.
breaking up Imperium.
He doesn't
Mate,
want it, man. He doesn't want it.
You're not going to see him in Elimination Chamber anyway, so what's it matter?
Because I want him in the Rumble. Stop it.
Oh, after the Rumble.
He's so upset.
I like Imperium.
That's fine.
We don't have to talk about it. You and I know it's going to happen. And he'll just
It's going to happen, mate. But
like when CM Punk returned.
could you imagine like having those two in a match and that's how Gunther loses?
Oh, it'd be brilliant. It would work.
It's one of the people that he's been around in the wrestling for the longest time.
Yeah, except I want it to be Pete Dunne, but we'll get to that.
Now, unfortunately...
Pete Dunne.
Who?
Shut up.
Pete Dunne. Oh, jeez.
Oh, actually, that'd be a good role reversal story to tell, because Gunther
Was the face.
was Walter,
Yes.
and I'm on to
Yeah,
you.
now
I'm
you're
on to you.
listening.
I'm on to you.
With Raw, there was 3 other matches, but when we talk about highlights, we have to
just skip to the end. Sorry,
I only remembered one of them, which was the tag match, which was not good.
it was okay.
women's tags. I mean,
I thought the ending was a bit
No, he was
iffy.
horrible.
ending was horrible. I completely forgot that Miz and JD McDonough had a match. That completely blew my mind. I
Yeah.
don't even recall it, so it couldn't have been anything too good. Ivar and Otis, I also forgot. But anyway, we'll talk about highlights. So the main event, which I'll have to talk about.
Hang on, Reece has a point.
What about the Jinder Seth segment? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Before we get to the main event. So obviously, Seth comes out, cutting his promo, talking away, and is interrupted by none other than
Modern day Maharaja.
Don't hinder the Jinder. And he was pretty good on the mic, man. I'm respecting Jinder on the mic.
One thing I did note
Yep.
was one of the things that Jinder said was, now that I've got your attention, and I was like, the last time Jinder probably had Seth's attention was in NXT.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
When they were fighting over the NXT championship.
Yeah. I'm actually...
So I like it's a little bit of a throwback to that.
yeah.
So I'm interested to see what happens next week.
So essentially, Seth has agreed to have a match against Jinder and defend the World Heavyweight title next week. Yes, on Raw.
Which most people are okay with, except for Tony Khan. But
Yeah, exactly.
Which we covered
if
on
you-
our
if
other
you
episode,
Watch
so-
our other episode and listen to that, and you'll hear our thoughts. But
yeah.
I see no problem with it, man. I think Seth's good enough that Jinder's probably not quite as good in terms of in ring as Seth is, but he still can wrestle, and I think Seth can pull him to having a pretty banger of a main event.
Yeah.
I don't.
And then something dodgy happening, and then they
it's
have
also
a
the
match in
point
Rumble.
that we've had with Seth for a while. So we're getting stale. We're getting bored of him.
Yeah.
We don't care about him as a champion. And I think a lot of people are like that. So then how do you make him the big baby face and give him a bit of a good push? You put him against the anti-American heel.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
Cheap
why.
heat,
I
but
think
it
that's why
works.
they're doing it, because they can see that Seth's getting a little
Yep,
bit
100%.
disliked, and they're like, we've got to put him against a real heel that
Cheap heat.
no one will cheer for except for me.
But everybody wants Jinder to win.
I do
Don't
want
hinder
Jinder
the
to win.
Jinder.
He won't, but we know it's too close to Mania now. So that's set up for next week. But then we got to the main event, and I know you guys both said, and I was similar at the time, I didn't really pay as much attention to it because
Yeah.
it was Cody versus Shinsuke in a street fight, because they'd had a altercation backstage earlier, and I believe it got changed to a street fight.
That's correct.
Yeah, it wasn't a street fight to begin with, but they changed it to that. And obviously, we've already spoken about it on previous episodes. We were all a little bit about Shinsuke and Cody, but it's turned out to be a pretty good feud, especially with the vignettes and promos that Shinsuke's been doing. I do wish they had have actually mentioned earlier on, and I think I would have been more interested from the start, but they were very slow in opening up about it, with Shinsuke being like, we have the same story. I feel like he didn't say that early enough, because he just sort of, Shinsuke's been talking about Cody, and I'm like, I don't see the connection here. But when obviously it
They
started...
did that on the first promo.
No, he didn't mention
It was
the
second or
fact-
third.
It was like second or third one in, where he said, we both won a Rumble and then didn't finish our story.
Yeah.
Which was the
Which he should
Christmas
have opened
episode.
that with.
I thought that was the first there was all of the promos where Shinsuke was trying to take on somebody, but we didn't know who it was. But then as soon as he announced that it was Cody, that was when he said it was the story. I thought that was the first.
No.
Really?
It wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like right from the
No,
start.
it was just the fact of, I'm going to finish your story, and like it
Yeah.
was talking around the point, and then it was about the second or third one, and he said we have the same story because you know,
we both won a Rumble
we
and lost.
both failed and everything. I feel like he should have opened with that when it was revealed. But anyway, the match itself, go back and watch it because I know you both said you sort of lost interest in it, but it's actually a hell of a match.
Lost interest.
This guy fell asleep.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to be
watch it
nice.
like midnight, but yeah.
No, go back and watch it because I rewatched it because I was the same. I was a little bit. It was on, but it didn't have my attention. Like I was looking over every now and then.
Yeah.
But watching it back and actually watching the whole thing, it makes you realize how good number one Shinsuke Nakamura is.
He's great.
As a heel, and as a wrestler in general. And number two, actually, how good Cody is. Because I know some people think he can be a bit bland. But him and Shinsuke.
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, he's kind of stopped saying that now, hasn't he?
Good.
But they actually put on a really good match. It's actually awesome. And as you can see on the screen there,
24 minutes.
24 minutes. And it didn't feel that long. It felt like a long match, but not as long as
It's
that.
a solid match.
Yeah. But Cody did get the win. But if you didn't watch the whole thing, go back and watch it because Shinsuke gets the nunchucks out again, man.
Oh, I loved
watching him
that
with the
spot. I
nunchucks,
love that
dude.
spot. It was so good.
Brilliant. No, I don't think they did this time. I don't think they did. But look, I want to say what happened, but you guys didn't really watch it. But essentially,
Just say it.
Essentially, there was a point where Shinsuke went to give him the poison mist, but they were outside the ring over the barricade where Samantha and a timekeeper are. And the timekeeper cops the stuff to the face.
That's
and he
Cody's
goes
cousin.
down.
Is it?
Yeah. Apparently that timekeeper was Cody's cousin. and
Seriously?
the concern that he showed was legit.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Is this the same as that weekend that LA Knight got married?
Yeah, where you hold up, buddy. Look, no, go back and watch it. Amazing match. Cody gets the win in the end, but I can still see it not necessarily being the end of the story. But it's going to be hard. I wouldn't be shocked if it is the end of their feud, but I wouldn't also be shocked if they then still have stuff in the Rumble together.
Yeah,
Like
they-
Star 1 and 2 or something.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you have to go
Maybe.
watch another episode to find out.
So Raw wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
As I said, there was a few matches, but again, not every match can be an absolute banger. You have to have some pretty basic matches in there because otherwise the main
It
event
just
doesn't
happens.
look like a main event. So,
Yeah.
on to NXT.
Yeah, I'm
Good
going
sir.
to quickly smash through this. I've
Let's
got,
do
what,
it. Let's do it.
5 notes from this show.
Boom.
I have 2, but you all covered
So,
it.
Hit us up.
to kick us off, we had Blair Davenport versus Nikita Lyons,
Yep.
which they cut to earlier in the night. They had a brawl in the parking lot.
Sorry, we mentioned
And then they come out and they're still brawling. And Vic Joseph is like, oh, they haven't stopped for the past 15 minutes when they were wearing different outfits. They were brawling in the car park in their clothes. And then when they got to the ring, they were in their ring gear. So obviously they did have time to stop, Vic. Come on.
They should do another vignette to play next week where they start in the original clothes they had, have a brawl in the dressing room, but change as they're doing it. It's like punches her out, changes her shirt, gets knocked out, she changes her pants.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Man, that's brilliant. I
yeah.
love that.
Blair Davenport eventually got the win.
Yep.
And like we said ages ago, NXT people, stop coming in through the car park.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Stop it.
Car park's bad juju, man.
Come through the
Just
front
doesn't-
Maybe
it
they
doesn't
don't
work.
have a dressing room. Maybe it's just the car park and the entrance. Maybe that's the problem. They don't have the money
Could
for
be.
it.
We got a backstage promo where Mello and Trick were there.
Yes.
Mello's officially said that they are the last tag team to take their place in the Dusty Classic.
Yeah, cool.
So
That's good.
got that.
And obviously, we're looking towards they're not going to win the Dusty Classic, and that'll be the breakup of them as
my pick,
friends.
so.
my pick is Trick and Mello in the final against Bron and Baron Corbin.
That'd be brilliant. But then Mello finally
Mello
turns on Trick.
finally turns on Trick. Bron and Baron win the Dusty Classic.
Nice.
That's my pick.
That sounds good.
I
I
agree.
like that. I like that.
So yeah, we had Bron and Baron's match, the first round of the Dusty Classic, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
They won, of course.
Who'd they wrestle?
I didn't note.
Oh, okay.
They didn't.
No one of note.
Axiom and Fraser.
one
That
of
was a
note.
different match, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a different match. Who was it?
Oh,
Gallus. Gallus.
and the
I
other
do
one-
like Gallus though. It was a really good, hard hitting match.
The other match was Hank and Tank.
Hank and Tank.
Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank.
That chant happened.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll jump to that. Hank and Tank versus Nathan Fraser and Axiom, Power Ranger dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, him and Nathan Fraser, they've both got such speed and agility. They did really well as a tag team in this match. They ended up getting the victory as well. So they'll go on to face Baron and Bron in 2 weeks' time, I think.
How was Axiom not teamed up with Dragon Lee? I thought that was going to
They've
happen
done
for
that
sure.
before.
Yeah, they've done that in the past.
I thought they would for the Dusty Classic, but
All throughout this show as well, we had vignettes of Tiffany Stratton
Yep.
Oh,
being
this is so bad.
being a
right.
ranch
I heard
hand for
about this.
Fallon Henley.
Yeah.
This is
They
so
were
bad.
bad. They were bad.
They were really bad.
I was expecting more, but it was just like, yeah.
okay.
What
Really
I even
poorly done.
made a comment about was that like when she got to the farmhand, she was in her full Tiffany Stratton gear.
Yeah.
It's like the short skirt
With heels.
the heels, but she couldn't walk straight. She
kept
was
stumbling?
wobbling with the heels. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't understand why they were.
she always wears heels. Why is she
Yeah.
wobbling in them now?
I mean, look, Tiffany, if you want to come slop out some stables, mate, I got some miniature horses.
She's
They're
an
much
expert
cuter.
at it.
So,
Yeah.
oh, is she?
Oh yeah, she was covered in horseshit by the end of the show.
Look, good on her for doing that. I guess, like, you know, doing a bit of the comedic stuff.
Yeah.
Because she did the serious stuff, obviously with Becky, and I think she's trying to show the all-roundedness. But I haven't seen them, so I'll go find them and check. You don't recommend?
Don't stress
Okay,
yourself.
all right.
Don't stress
You'll be
yourself.
fine.
I won't hurry.
We had Stax and Tony retain their tag team titles against OTM out the mud, which is I still hate that name.
Such
It's
a weird
so
name,
stupid.
man. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it. Like they want it. We came from the streets.
yeah,
we came
it's
out of the-
still it's a bit better than crime time.
Don't
yo,
talk
yo.
about
You-
Shad Gaspard like that.
No, but
Come
I
on,
love
man.
them as a wrestling team, but you knew Vince came up with that.
Rhymed.
Oh well, you know, you're
It
African
was probably him that did the
American.
introduction as well.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They were brilliant.
But Stax and Tony have some really great in-ring chemistry together.
Yeah,
Like the way that they're able to pull off
Get
the
'em up.
tags, doing the tag moves and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
I look forward to the day they get called up
okay.
because I reckon they'll definitely do better than the Creed brothers. Because I was talking to Dan earlier.
Wow.
No offense, but like you look at this is why like when we were talking about Mello getting called up, we talked about it before we filmed the last episode and on the last episode as well. They're not bringing him up yet, but he's been there a few times and they're testing the waters to
Yeah.
see how the crowd reaction is, and that's what they did with Dragon Lee as well.
Yeah,
Like I think it's
right.
better to have them appear a few times before they're actually called up, test how they get that crowd reaction, and then if they get good crowd reaction, then bring them up.
Yeah, well, I think Dragon Lee's at that point though. Where
Yeah.
you could bring him up and no one
Well,
would
like
bat
he-
an eyelid. You'd be like,
He
oh yeah,
is,
Dragon
but
Lee.
like he got the
Yeah.
title, and that's why he's been back
Yeah,
down
of
in
course.
NXT. But
I'd love to
he's
see Dragon Lee
part
on
of
the
SmackDown.
main one now. Yeah.
So I feel like they're doing that with Mello as well. But like the reason why I threw shade at the Creed brothers is because
yeah,
They got-
what have they been doing?
yeah, they got put over really quickly.
They got called up and then they
now
just-
nothing's happening. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And then we moved on to the main event.
Yep.
Which was Lexus King versus Dragon Lee for the North American Championship.
Right,
Pretty
okay.
decent match. That's probably some of the best work I've seen Lexus King do.
Interesting. I was
really
going to
good.
say because you know, and I also saw his work a little bit too.
Yeah, it wasn't the best, but
fantastic,
yeah, he's definitely progressing, which is
Okay.
what NXT is for.
yeah, true.
Dragon Lee ended up winning the match.
Yep.
But then we had Obafemi come out. Now, earlier in the night, Obafemi, who won the NXT Breakout Tournament, had a backstage interview where he was getting interviewed and then got interrupted by Lexus King, who straight up went up to Dragon Lee with a contract and was like, I want a title match tonight. And Dragon Lee's like, okay. And he was like, well, I got this for a title match and I didn't have to go through the tournament anyway. So yada, yada, yada. And then Obafemi was like, oh,
Guy had
that
weird
match.
look, I was like, oh.
Oh, so that match is that the main event for the title? And the interviewee chick was like, yeah. And he was like, and looked at his contract.
okay.
Dragon Lee wins. Obafemi comes out, cashes in his contract, wins the North American Championship.
Wow. Okay.
Bit of a shock
Yeah.
having it happen that quickly as well. Like
Interesting.
literally the week after he won the contract. So
Okay.
Because it was
must
like,
have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, he was a big kind of reverse.
So do you think that means Dragon Lee's coming up to the main
Yes.
roster now? He's lost.
Oh,
his
he's going to
title?
be permanently.
So he's
up
got to
there.
be in the Rumble, surely. He's got to be in there.
Yeah, probably.
So do you reckon a spot with him and Logan Paul instead of
No,
Ricochet?
him and Ricochet.
Him and Ricochet.
Well, because Logan Paul's got the match. with
Logan
Kevin
Paul
Owens.
and Kevin Owens. Yeah, do you reckon
Logan
he'll still
Paul
turn
won't
up
be
though?
Nah, you won't be
No,
Rumble.
okay.
Logan won't pull W.
Yeah, but Dragon Lee and Ricochet. Okay, cool.
yeah, that's NXT.
Nice. Sounds good, man. Looks like they're cooking down there.
They are. They always cooking.
Onto SmackDown. And SmackDown opened up with actually showing the digital exclusive of Heyman telling Roman Reigns backstage from last week about the fact that all this made it a fatal four-way and everything else, and Roman telling him, well, you need to fix this.
Didn't actually go with the name, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Continue.
going.
Continue. No, just
Oh, yeah, okay.
continue.
I can see what you're talking about
But
now.
I remember
But anyway, so the
saying-
opening match was supposed to be Grayson Waller versus
Cameron
Grimes. And Grimes was coming out after Grayson Waller had ended with Austin Theory and was attacked by Jimmy and Solo, multiple spikes, etc., kicks.
I love that they walked to the ring. Grace of
Acknowledge. And then
Jumped out
exit
the ring. Yeah.
But this was brilliantly done because
Top-notch
Nick
work.
Aldis just slowly walked up. Heyman was there talking to his staff about what was going on. And Nick Aldis literally just snatched the microphone.
Heyman saying that the real villain here is Nick Aldis.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not us, it's him. He made us do this.
Yeah. And then Nick Aldis proceeded to create a 3-on-3 tag match. So it was going to be the Bloodline versus Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. So it was supposed to be
including
Roman Reigns. And obviously, Paul Heyman, you know as well as I do, Nick Aldis, that Roman Reigns isn't here. And they're in Nebraska, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snowstorm, by the way.
Oh.
There was a snowstorm around the time, so apparently there was some issues getting to the venue. So
Oh, that's why Roman wasn't there, obviously. There you go. So obviously, Roman wasn't going to be in the match, and Nick Aldis clearly stated to Heyman, well, you've got until the main event to find yourself a third partner.
I thought he was going to be like, oh, you're in the match.
That's what I thought. Or it'll be a 3-on-2 handicap match. So then we did proceed for the rest of the show to have quite a lot of backstage interactions of Paul Heyman with other wrestlers like Carlito, trying to seduce him with an apple, which Carlito ended up taking and not agreeing to actually wrestle with the Bloodline. And obviously Paul Heyman was like, it's a package deal, the apple, and yes, sir. And then Pretty Deadly, obviously, that was fun when you realised, do you realise you'll be wrestling against, only one thing you'll be wrestling against Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight. We've got plans. No. Just by the way, can I point out, I don't know if you guys are as big fans of Lord of the Rings as I am, but the boys from Pretty Deadly literally just look like a couple of elves from Lord of the Rings.
Is so dashing?
Yes, with the straight hair and, mate, a couple of good-looking blokes there. Yeah,
Pretty
So it's quite funny to see throughout the night with Paul Heyman. I'm starting to like a little bit more now too with his interactions backstage.
No geek.
No geek.
That's a shirt I want.
That is a good shirt.
No
Yeah,
geek.
that-
It wasn't pride.
No.
You get the Paul Heyman confronted Lashley to try and get him to join.
No, I didn't forget that, but I didn't mention it, so sorry. Yes, he did actually check with Lashley, but Lashley
Said
was
that next time that he's going to be in the ring with Roman will be across the ring from him.
which is good because obviously he's declared the Rumble, and again, it's just sowing seeds of doubt of who's going to win the Rumble. So I did like that. But we all talked about this off air. We also had the match between Bianca and Bayley, and this was a good match.
Best match of the night.
I could see that Bayley's got a little bit of ring rust because she hasn't been wrestling as much. She's been more managed. There's a couple of spots where she just was a little bit unsure on her feet, but as the match itself, like in terms of telling the story and everything else,
Disrespect to
No,
Bayley.
it was a couple of spots, but
So Bianca and Bayley have wrestled each other every year for the last 4 years.
that's why.
On Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
And every time they've wrestled, it's been more than 10 years.
Because they were good matches.
Yep.
That was a really good match. That kept me interested in the whole match
That was a good
all the way
stat,
through.
too. Well done.
That's what I'm here for.
Din Statman.
You keep it up. No, it was a good match, and the story obviously behind all them Fatal were at ringside, but never took any advantage that you normally would see in a match like this. So when Bayley was pretending that she had a hurt knee and Bianca was hung over the ropes, and she's like, get up, and they all just stood there.
Oh,
The ref was not watching.
The ref is not watching.
When she threw Bianca out onto the floor, Bianca was lying there, and they all just stood there.
It's very obvious what they're doing.
Very obvious what's going on. And we, obviously
Trying
Bianca
to get
ended
Bayley
up getting the win.
Turf action. Why are they kicking her out?
But even with Bianca getting the win, and I think we said this, right, the way the match went, it didn't make Bayley look bad. So she was still in the Rumble, it still made sense because they put on a banger of a match. But then even Bianca sold it at the end, where she kind of was looking at them like, what's going on? You didn't even help her. So she even sold into it. And then obviously we had backstage camera segment where, but it was interesting that it was only Dakota that came over and spoke with Bayley with all of Kabuki Warrior girls in the background not talking directly with her. So there's that disconnect that's
But
happening.
that weeks, because last week when he said, we told Bayley to check with Bianca, she said it, and Dakota had to go tell Bayley that you have to go do it. So, they're seeding that dissension.
But it is interesting that they're still pushing that, when you win the Rumble, because that's their plan that you're going to win the Rumble. I'm interested to see how they're going to play that out, because it seems to obviously going to turn on her at the Rumble. That's the idea, but how does Bayley not get eliminated by those four? And by those three, because Io's not going to be in the match, is she?
Either.
No, that's true. So it's only going to be Oscar and
When will
Kyrie.
we get a Dakota return?
Maybe. Well, she's
Maybe,
she's
yeah.
8 months.
No, I just mean when.
ACL, so she'd be
Maybe she could be a surprise entry and she comes in and eliminates Bayley and Bayley doesn't win. I don't know. But look, it's setting up for a very good story anyway.
It's gonna be a good
I'm
story.
loving it. So, and then we also had the match that we mentioned on our other podcast, which was Carmelo versus Austin Theory, which was actually
Good match up until the incident.
Yeah, which we did talk about. There was a bit of a slip, Spanish fly. Austin landed on his head. They stopped the match. There was a no contest, and they did the right thing. And obviously they've said afterwards that both were fine, and everything's okay. So that's the main thing, and that's all good.
You take a photo of Dan.
I don't know. What are you doing, Dan?
It's going to be something.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Oh, well, you just distracted me, but anyway, thanks, Dan. But look, it's good to hear they're all good. That's the main thing. They're all good. They're healthy. Good to hear. Hopefully they'll be back wrestling again in the next couple of weeks. But the main event came up, and essentially there was no third partner. They were not successful, and there was a backstage
Which is
segment
not
where
surprising
Heyman
either.
admitted as such, and Jimmy was like, "Well, I'm worried, cuz," and all that, and Solo, I'm not worried.
never
And he went.
worry.
Jimmy's like, "Well, if he's not worried, I'm not worried." And Randy Orton's music hits. He comes walking out. Jimmy and Solo at it again. Attack Randy
Taking him
before he
out
gets to
from
the
behind.
ring. Couple of Samoan spikes, some kicks. Randy gets taken out the back because he's injured. and they go to the ring, and then LA Knight, AJ Styles come out, and they proceed to have a
Telegraph what was going to happen from a mile.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I like the way this ended, and I did like the fact that they didn't really do too traditional can they coexist between LA Knight and AJ, because they actually did wrestle really well as a tag team, and there was only slight moments where they're like, no, you tag me, and they didn't just beat each other up, you know? Like, they knew, hey, we want to win this, let's get it done kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously Randy came out. They ended up getting the win, and the big thing for me was the post-match beatdown of Solo and Jimmy, and if you didn't see it, the Shield bomb,
The triple
power bomb of Solo, not Jimmy, through the announce table by AJ, Randy, and LA Knight.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty cool storytelling. I like what they're doing here. I think that's a nice touch, and the fact that the Bloodline obviously didn't finish on top for the night in either way. Either they lost the match and also had the post-match beatdown. So I like where they're going with this, but unfortunately it does say to me that they're probably not going to win. That's usually how it works. If you have the upper hand going into a pay-per-view, you normally are going to lose. But as I've said, I already think that Roman's going to go through most of this year as the champion anyway. But as a whole, SmackDown was a pretty good show. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Good show. Very entertaining.
Why didn't you talk about the Pete Dunne video?
I was waiting for you guys to do that, but...
Well, Dan's too busy taking photos of his laptop.
Yeah, that's right, and distracting us. I'm going to be honest, I kind of tuned out when that video came on.
I think both Dan and I agreed that the video package itself wasn't great.
It's fine.
But we're getting the return of Pete Dunne. He's no longer going to be called Butch.
Yeah.
And that's what we're happy about.
Okay.
I think if you didn't watch NXT UK and the other Black and Gold NXT stuff,
You wouldn't appreciate
but
it
you
as
don't
much.
have that appreciation of what Pete Dunne was, then you don't care.
Yeah.
If you did, this is very exciting.
This is
Okay, cool.
This is going to be a good change.
Pretty strong, silent Pete Dunne.
Are they going to 100% stay as a tag team as
should
well?
do.
Is that the idea?
They should for a little bit,
Yeah.
but I feel like if they're going back to Pete Dunne, he's always been a better heel. He'll turn on Tyler at some point
No,
for sure.
I think you keep them heel, and you have a returning Sheamus, and he turns on Sheamus because he's like, I don't want the Brawling Brutes. You know, I've passed you, whatever. And
Wouldn't it be good if he was going back to Pete Dunne? Wouldn't it be good for him to maybe win the tag titles or someone?
or dethrone Gunther in Berlin? Yeah, I could see him do that too.
Oh, okay. Even
I'm a
bigger.
big Pete Dunne fan.
You know that Berlin's going to be Gunther versus Roman, surely.
Oh, yeah,
Surely.
nah.
It's got to be.
Gunther won't lose. And if you're gonna
Or
have
maybe it's not a loss. Maybe it's a double count out or no contest. You never know. Never know. Anyway, that's the wrap up. That's the recap for the week of wrestling. Some good matches, some injury scares.
Yeah.
Again,
I
but
think
that's
you're-
wrestling. It's dangerous.
They're on the road to the Royal Rumble now.
Yeah.
Like we said with both of the shows, they were planting seeds of people who could win each Rumble.
Yeah.
So that the next week or two, everyone's like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be this person. Then we'll have the Royal Rumble and then bang.
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
I think you're right. I think the next couple of weeks before the Rumble will be not too much advancement in the story.
Yeah,
It'll just be
agreed.
planting more seeds
Yep.
here and there, because obviously you want to. They've got to pause it a little bit because you don't want it to become too obvious who's going to do what. Even though we think it's quite obvious who's going to win both Rumbles, we could be very, very wrong. But we also,
could
as we
be
said,
wrong.
we don't know how it's going to happen. We've got no idea what the other stories within them are going to be.
I'm pretty
But we could
confident.
be.
You're pretty confident?
Yeah. Pretty
You
confident.
going to
But
put a
like,
bet on?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck, sir. Look, I hope we're right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
I feel like, it's going to be the easiest way for the story to pan out if it happens.
Yeah. Agreed. Let us know what you think at home. Who should win the Rumbles? We already said that on the other one, but we've gotten on to that again because it's Rumble season. We're getting excited. We can't not talk about the Rumble.
So sorry. Our consensus is CM Punk
Yep.
and Bailey.
And Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the shows. The
I
fact
shouldn't have said that. Now they're going to know, and they won't tune into the other episode.
No, they can.
They've
They,
already
they don't
watched
know the other predictions we did, so go and check it out. News and rumors and our Royal Rumble predictions. Thank you for joining us here down on the mat, Madison Square Garage, around the pool table of relevancy. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. Check us out on Spotify, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Thank you very much, Mr. David Danielson. Thank you, Reece.
Thanks, Ted.
I'm Booker Ted. That's another episode of Down Under the Mat done. And we'll see you in a fortnight because unfortunately we can't record next week. So next episode will be in a fortnight.
Ready for the Rumble.
We'll see you then. And Sesame Teddy!
Bang, bang, scissor gang!